let's get on with it. G'day everybody, welcome back. So the solution that we have, at least in the short term, get this bike back on the road, is I've managed to be able to secure another TCI. Now, thank you to Christian Wraith, who's the patriarch of the XS1100 Australia forum. Christian reached out and said, I've got a couple, because he runs BOYA ignition on his bike. He's got a couple of RHs as well, and which is the model designation for basket case. And he said, I've got a module, I'll send it down. I've got to send mine back to him. He is a retired electronics guru, and he's had a bit of success in repairing them. So he's going to see if he can recover the old unit. But we do have a replacement. So thank you, Christian. The other thing is, last time I was waving this around saying it's no good. The fact is, it does have the field coil exciter. But what was throwing me is that in 81, they went to a different regulator rectifier on this bike. And there's 3 wires on the field coil plug. One of them is an earth wire that simply just goes back in and earths in the wiring loom back to the chassis. I had a fairly good conversation with a friend of mine, Evan. Evan knows his shit, and if you are at all interested, he's got a beautiful Dharma 900 that has been converted over to fuel injection, what have you not. And I did a Show Us Your Junks story on Evan's bike, and if you haven't seen it, I suggest you go and have a look, because it's an absolutely fantastic machine. Links in the corner. Was quite a bit of commentary around, so back to this, this more than likely earths internally on that circuit, so we should be good. This is actually an XS1100 regulator rectifier. Hopefully it's functional and it's not failed, but we'll find out in due course. Right, so we have that and we have the TCI. So there was a bit of commentary around the need to really go and run a MOSFET type regulator rectifier with a lithium ion battery. That appears to be true for shunt type systems where you have a permanent magnet alternator. The MOSFET ones are designed to limit the voltage to the battery, so it's sort of an inbuilt protection. I guess they don't go above 14 point something volts, and that is true for the permanent magnet design type. The MOSFETs that have the field coil regulators on them, field coil alternator systems on them, do not have that inbuilt protection. So there's no difference between running the MOSFET and the older style regulator rectifiers like this one, with the exception of the fact they're probably more reliable and do a better job. However, I'm going to run the one I've got, for now at least. Evan suggested to me that, he said the rectification side is easy. You could go to JCar or a similar electronics store and buy diodes and make your own, and then just use like a Bosch regulator, like a vehicle one. But at the end of the day, that's what Yamaha built. It's lasted 40 years in this bike, and it failed because it was getting old, and we had 2 consecutive days of 47 degrees Celsius temperatures, and it just didn't like it, and it fell over. Anyway, let's get on with it. So the plan today is to replace the reg rec and test it. And if it's working fine, then I'll replace the ignition module. If it's not working fine, there's no point replacing the ignition module and risk damaging it. So I'll strip its skirt off and we'll come back and get stuck in, Just one other thing before we start. The reason why I mean, everyone said just go and buy another module, such as that TCI that Christian sent down. The reason that's a bit difficult on my bike is that they made a change in 1981 that was significant in terms of the ignition. And the difference was this. So this is pre-1981. This is 77 or 78 through to 1980. They used mechanical advance for the ignition timing. On the 1981 model, they went to electronic advance. So the ignition modules were different, and it was only manufactured for 1 year, which means that they're bloody rare. And if anyone knows what they've got and they have a spare, they're very rarely in a position where they want to let them go. So I was very lucky to be able to secure that. I did find one or two on eBay. They weren't cheap, and they would have had to come out of America. And the way, I don't know, some of these companies work, but the way that the freight worked out would be dearer to ship it than it would be to purchase it, and they weren't cheap to purchase. In fact, the money they were asking for, if you included the shipping, it would have been cheaper for me to go and buy an aftermarket ignition system. So, yep, so that's why I originally waved the white flag and I thought I'm not going to be able to find another TCI, but as luck would have it, we have. All right, straight away we've got an issue. This is the plug, the field coil plug for the regulator rectifier, and this is what happens when you push 18 volts through to the field coil. All I can hope is we haven't damaged the field coil, but we have smoked that wire there. Funnily enough, after all of that, this plug only has 2 pins on it anyway. So we're going to have to come back to the soldered joint, which I think is here, for that wire, and replace it, and replace the plugs, because those plugs are crap. All I can find is this. Thankfully there's enough length in it, I think, to be able to snip the old ones off and fit this new plug, and we'll go from there. So first thing, remove the old regulator rectifier. Screw a nut on there and we'll keep all of that together. You can see parts of this wiring loom all still covered in paint. This bike was disgusting. It was called basket case for a reason. Right, we've liberated the old fuel sender. Now, bring that back as it comes back to this joint here. Thankfully it looks like the only wire that's melted. Yep. Does it go back to there? Maybe not. Oh, it doesn't. Oh dear. Alright, let's start digging. This is how much they give you with the GPS sending unit for the speedometer. Okay, there's another joint there that's attached to, and that. Strip this back and see how far back that damage goes. This is our junction here. All right, so this is not the power to the field coil. This is the power to the field coil. This must be the reference voltage for the regulator. So what I've managed to do is I've picked through an old wiring loom, and I have the same colour, same gauge wire that was here. It even has the spade connector still on the end. I rescued it from the housing, different housing. So I could reuse this housing, but it is broken and not the best. I mean, common sense would say replace it, but I don't know how good this one is, and oh, mind you, it's got to be better than that, hasn't it? The biggest problem with it is that the clip is on the male on this one, and the clip is on the female on this one. So I've got to replace both plugs. Yep. They got mighty hot. Oh, to hell with it, I'll replace them both. I was a bit reluctant because essentially if I needed to grab another regulator rectifier later on in the field, it won't plug in. I'd have to change the plug again. But this is the exciter wire, so what we'll do is I'll snip them all off and put the new plug on. And of course I'll have to do the corresponding one on the rec as well. I might just try and rescue these in situ and just clip the new one together. Oh, so before I try and shove them into the other housing, I've got to make sure these are pretty much the same, and it would appear they are. So it looks like that'll work. The brown goes onto the horizontal. Like so. And the green one goes on that side. Right, new plug. Good enough for the girls that I go out with. Okay, so what we want to do now is snip this to bits. It was a pain in the neck trying to wrap wires that are bundled up like this in a tight spot. Right. Okay, so insulation tape there, that one's re-insulated as well. So we need to go back to this guy, snip them off. Yum yum. Lovely. Right. You plug, so and in that way, and it's brown in there. The green wire goes in there, which means it only leaves the black wire in there. Right. Ta-da! Cheddar! All right. So we can now, I'll just give that a bit of a scratch. All right, let's hook up some petrol to it, start it, and test that regulator rectifier. All right, petrol should be running down. Chalk. Digital meter is connected. Ignition. Hello. Why isn't that working? Oh, we need this on. That's why. Safety circuit. So we need to connect ignition pickups back together, which also houses the neutral switch. There we go. Let's contact. Giddy up. So we now have a working regulator rectifier. Now, transistorized controlled ignition module. All right, so it's housed underneath this panel. What I think the easiest thing to do will probably be just to remove that panel and try and lift it up and get to the nuts that are under there. Sort of wasn't designed exactly for ease of service. So I've just got these little upstands here. Right. Reconnect the battery. We're running on 4 cylinders. Alright, basket case is alive. So now I want to put the lithium ion battery back in there. Rotary ho, we have magicked my spare lithium battery back onto the bike. Let's hope this still works. Oh, not enough in it. Not enough charge in it, so I'm going to have to charge it up before I can ride it. I take that back. I turned the cameras off, tried it again, and away it went. Alright, I'm going to button it up and go for a ride. Alright. Winning. So for the first time since Melbourne, I'm riding basket case. It's running beautifully. Happy boy. I'll tell you what though, it took forever for the speedometer to acquire. I'm not sure if the time's right. I haven't got my watch on. Be somewhere close. He's back, he's back. I've lost low beam. That's why the high beam light's on. Yeah, it's working, but I've cooked low beam. I need to investigate that further, but not exactly as nimble as the Ducati, but so listen, for the eagle-eyed among you, if there was ever any doubt, remember on the side of the highway I said I thought I had a short in my voltmeter? Well, I had white smoke coming out of it, and that's because the bloody thing was charging at over 18 volts. So I can't monitor that now. I've got a new one coming, but the new one I've decided to spend a little bit of extra money, not much, and get a warning light. So, I mean, that's the thing, like I put that gauge there because I was worried about damage to the battery, etc. And but they're only good if you're monitoring them. And of course, I'm looking up there. I'm not looking down there. Evan suggested to me he's got one on his bike that changes colour as it changes state. So while it's happy and green, your voltage is well within safe levels. If it goes to orange, it's sort of starting to get a little bit high, and then if it goes to red, you stop. So it's this big progressive button type lamp. He suggested I fit one of those. Not a bad idea, but again, you know. Anyway, now we're done. Well, we're done. We're back on the road again. Oh, one happy boy. So big shout out to Christian Wraith.
for coming through with the TCI. Big shout out to Evan Lyons for your counsel, and a big shout out to all my patrons and all of you guys that have subscribed. We're knocking on the door of we're heading towards 10,000 subscribers, which is awesome. And it's the 17th of March today. I don't know when you'll get to see this, but it's the 17th of March today. And as you know, Basket Case, that's St Patrick's Day. Basket Case is a St Patrick's theme, the emerald and the gold and the number 17. And it happens to be a celebration of the Irish heritage on my mother's side of the family, and my birthday, which is today. So happy birthday to me. Basket Case is back on the road. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment, and I'll catch you next time on Andy's Motorcycle Obsessions. Bye for now.